बच्चों का कुछ पता चला?
बच्चे बक्सों में से झील के बीच में से गायब हो रहे हैं। सब कनेक्टेड है।
Hello and welcome to DD India. You're watching this special broadcast where we have with us the crew of Baramulla. Baramulla is set in Kashmir. It's a chilling investigation of missing children in the valley, but with a twist. I'm not going to tell you the twist, but its climax is set to hound you much after the film is over. Written and directed by Aditya Suhas Jambale, who earlier helmed the successful project of Article 370, is with us. Hi Aditya, for being with us. We also have Monal Thakur with us. He has written the film, and Bhasha ji is also with us. She has given us a powerful performance earlier in the Kashmir Files. Thank you very much for taking out the time to be with us. Let me start with you, Aditya. What was the inspiration behind writing this story, first of all, and what made you link the terror angle with the thriller angle?
I think the inspiration always came from the fact that I never wanted to do a horror film that is set in a certain palette, which has been happening since many years, where we are seeing horror, but it has a similar trope. Everything remains same. The palette doesn't change. The structure is not explored more than what it should be. So the idea was, can we bend the genre in such a way that that you will not be able to call it a horror. You'll not be able to call it just a thriller. It does have horror, it has dread in it, it has action in it, it has emotion and drama in it. So that was the whole idea, ki can we reinvent the genre completely. And I think Kashmir, Baramulla, the snow-clad mountains, the climate, its past, I think everything is there on the table. I think it gives us the best possible location to explore it, and that's why I think that's how it actually came on, came on board, and everything started happening, just to reinvent the genre in a way where we can give a new age horror. And I'm really grateful that the audience right now is calling it that a new age horror has really been born in this country right now with Baramulla. I think that's something very, very surreal, and I'm really grateful.
New age horror set in Kashmir. Okay, Monal, yes, as Aditya mentioned, it is one of the top 10 in OTT. Did you guys anticipate this kind of success for Baramulla?
I mean, while we were writing it, yes, we thought we had really something special on our hands. But of course, like any good artist, we do have self-doubt, we do have some sort of self-awareness, and there was some anticipation and anxiety around the release as to how the audience will receive something which is so experimental. The way, like you said, the climax bends genres. Every time you do something experimental like this, there's always a risk. Even I would say someone like a Christopher Nolan, when he does experimental stuff, he's criticized by many people. So if someone as huge and great as him can be criticized, we surely can be. And that was there was some anxiety around that, but we are pleasantly surprised by how the audience have reacted across the age spectrum, across all demographic sections. And yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been really amazing.
Okay, Bhasha, Sumbli ji, when these guys approached you for the film Baramulla, did you have any, apprehension that this might not work, or you were like, yes, this role is for me?
Oh, it's such a well-written film. I consider myself so grateful that I was chosen to be part of the film as Gulnar. And Gulnar is such a character which is not written daily, which is not visualized. Like, बहुत सारे characters ऐसे होंगे नहीं जैसा गुलनार है, और जिस तरह से इस film का ट्रीटमेंट हुआ है उस तरह से कभी हुआ नहीं है कश्मीर को रिलेटेड किसी भी फिल्म का ट्रीटमेंट. सो इस कहानी का हिस्सा होना बहुत मुझे लगता है कि एज एन एक्टर, ऑफ कोर्स एज एन आर्टिस्ट, एंड एज समबडी हु बिलोंग्स टू बारामुल्ला, हु बिलोंग्स टू कश्मीर, बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिक्स होके मेरे पास आई, एंड इट्स जस्ट सिंपली अ ब्लेसिंग टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस फिल्म. एंड इट वाज नॉट ईजी टू डू गुलनार. सो आई हैड दिस वंडरफुल टीम, हिज विजनरी डायरेक्शन एंड ऑल द हेल्प फ्रॉम all these people, Monal ji, Aditya Dhar ji. So that enabled me to perform this character, which is very, very, very complex actually.
Okay, you come from Kashmir, ma'am. Are there stories like this that are popular in, folk culture?
Yes,
they are.
Of course. Every place has its own folklore, which has these beings, these energies, which we call it supernatural, you call it mystic, you call it something which is very unexplainable, but it's there in the air. So something very, you can't, logic cannot define it. For example, if you see the movie also, Gulnar goes into the other world, the world of shadows. You cannot explain it logically, but it's there. So it's also part of the folklore of those places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you take, both of you, to write the story, and was there any writer's block for both of you since you've co-written it, or it just flowed?
I think it all came down to, as I just mentioned before, that I wanted to do something completely different. Bollywood doesn't really, hasn't done something like that before. So the idea was to do the research, completely get engrossed in it, get into the zone of it, so that we don't remain outsiders at all. You have to reach a point where you almost know so much and you feel so much that you're almost a Kashmiri, knowing the history, knowing what is it, knowing the cultures, knowing the nuances of it. So once we attend that, I think the whole plan was to really go it in get it in one go. And I think because we were completely engrossed in it in that way, we just could complete it. The first draft was completed, I think, in around 16 days. Like right from the start till the end, nobody disturbing us, nobody getting in the zone of what are you writing, where have you reached. That was a very important role I had set up, that nobody is going to disturb, nobody is going to ask us to submit something before we are submitting it. And I think Aditya Dhar, Lokesh Dhar understood that as producers of the film, and I think they backed me at that time, backed us at that time, that we come with what is there complete. We don't give work in progress, what we usually call it. And because of that, then the soul of the film, I think, never got altered.
Okay.
Because the soul came after it was complete. It didn't come in between, where you're discussing it with some people and there are different voices that can then hamper it. The idea was to get convinced and then convince rest of the people who are getting accustomed with it.
Yeah.
And adding to that, I mean, like he said, I don't think there was any writer's block. I think our concern was not being able to put enough on the table, because we had so many ideas, and like he said, once you get into the zone, especially Jamle said, the way he got into Kashmir, and we had not been to Kashmir by then, so it was purely through books and research and reading up that we were in the zone, and we were just more concerned that we should be able to fit everything, and that took, I think, 2 years. So from start to finish, and multiple drafts, I think 10 to 12 drafts, and the writing never stops till the last dubbing is done on the film, which was the last day of the submission of the film. It never stops. So 5
Okay,
years.
I have to ask you, what made you choose the symbolism of the tulip, and did you feel that using that symbolism in the film succeed?
I think it is. Firstly, I'll start by saying it. I think my job as a filmmaker when I used tulip was not to really tell you everything. I love when people start interpreting it. People have their own theories. The audience starts looking at it through their perspective. That was always the idea of the tulip. So if you ask me what was the idea behind the tulip, I think tulip symbolizes firstly the peace, the color, the flower.
Okay.
It has that soul which is so pure. It is not corrupted at all, and it is so Kashmir. It's like the backbone. It's like the actual epicenter of what you want to really showcase. But when you look at the film, there is a small animation sequence at the start, just when the film begins and gets into the zone, and in that I've kind of given certain Easter eggs and clues of what it actually means. And the idea was when things went really bad in 1990s, and when there was innocent blood which got spilled, wherever there was this innocent blood, the blood went inside, it got through the snow, it went into the ground literally, bhumi mein chala gaya, and wahan se the seed was born, and that seed germinated into something which is tulip. Later on, when the film gets into the zone of 2016, where the film is pretty much based in, the story is based on, time wise, I think that is the time where the tulip attracts, because it is in various different locations without any logical explanation. It can be anywhere, and it attracts, and it kinds of understands what is going to happen with the kids who are actually touching it. There is a tulip falling, petal falling incident that happens just after he touches, and I think that is where I am not going again because you're not telling the twist to the audience. I don't want to spill more, but yes, there were these things, metaphors I would call it, that were placed in such a way that audience can then think Because if we tell everything and spoon feed everything to the audience, audience doesn't become part of the experience.
Yes, audience also has to think about what the tulip stands for, and of course you've given us a
and
great,
they are making their own theories. They are really putting different
Yeah.
posts. This is what I thought, the things that you didn't catch in Baramulla, and I think that is so satisfying as filmmakers and creators of this film.
Okay, white in a way could also symbolize winters, but peace is above everything. Okay, Bhasha ji, anything that you want to describe about your experience while doing the film? Were there any challenging moments, and how did you prepare for those challenging moments?
The entire film is being shot in Chilai Kalan, which is the peak of winters. It's called in Kashmiri. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So minus 18 degrees, and peak of winters like ending December and starting January in Kashmir. And of course, the sensitive locations that we shot in were, we had full support of the security forces, and so I was a new mother that time.
Okay.
वो सारे challenges मिलके, it was a wonderful experience. It was actually something. It was like we were part of history. We were making history every day, because now when we look back and see के क्या impossible कर लिया अभी. I think it's just 23 days का shoot है, if I'm not wrong.
23 days.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything was a challenge, everything. So coming from the artistic background, if I say as a craft, I had never done something like Gulnar Sayyid as a character.
Okay.
इसके पहले I had done Kashmir Files, and it was easier to relate to Sharda Pandit's character because I also come from the same community. But Gulnar is a different character, and she is like, if you see the climax scene, I don't want to spill more, but that one dialogue Doordarshan, which is it's a vow, it's a sankalp, कि never again. वो करने का मतलब it's very challenging for an actor who is मेरे लिए that was a wishful thinking. Had some Gulnar been there at that time when all this happened in Kashmir in reality, आप समझ रहे हैं ना मैं क्या मतलब मैं किस तरफ कह रही हूँ कि I want Gulnars to come out of Kashmir and have their voices, because even if there are voices in the valley who resonate with Gulnar, they are a minority.
Okay.
So yes, as an artist I feel ki this is a
and I think that's the biggest achievement for an artist, if they can give voice to the voiceless.
Yes, and I hope that this encourages people to come out, and there are actually people writing about it, about the film. That is one of the biggest victories of this film, that people are writing about it. Voices are coming from the valley, that they support the film. The way appreciating the craft is one thing. As artists we love that, but also the subject, the way it has been presented, nobody denies that this has happened, this is what has happened, and people have experienced empathy across ideologies. That's a great success.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something which most often many actors are asked. When you look back, the film is out and you do an introspection, do you ever feel, oh, this scene could have been better? And I'll ask him also this, but first to you, did he give you enough freedom to experiment with your craft?
अरे जो कुछ भी अच्छा किया है वो सर की कृपा है. नहीं, he is such a good director to work with. I mean, such a brilliant mind. पहली बात तो इतना इनका विजन और उस चीज़ पे इनका कन्विक्शन, एंड टू एसिमुलेट an investigative thriller, फिर horror and supernatural and all this, to assimilate it, so much of conviction, so much of passion he has for the craft, and उस confidence से आपको भी confidence मिलता है कि okay, we are all in this together and we'll land somewhere. And the way people are now appreciating my performance, all the credit goes to the director.
Okay. Both of you, anytime now the film is out, post-production, do you feel something could have been shot better, written better?
I think there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. There's something that our sound designer said that always stayed with us, He said, you never complete a film, you mostly abandon it. Because there's always, as creators, we feel that if you're honest to ourselves, there will rarely come a time in your career where you made a perfect film. So you'll always and we should never be satisfied with what we do. So there will always be a scene that can be written better, a scene for him that could have been shot better or performed better.
Yeah.
So
But one thing that I can say for all of us is that the truth and the honesty, that was there. Usme to we are not.
There was no compromise in that at all, like that.
You have to keep your best effort. You have to put your best effort, given all the challenges.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's up to the audiences who don't know what's gone wrong behind the camera.
Of course.
For them to judge if what you've managed to put in front of the camera is
But the way
satisfying.
people are relating to the story and the story is resonating with them, the performances, the craft and the writing and direction, everything. I think this shows that the truth that we had in our hearts has actually reached. It's ultimately truth wins, na?
Yeah.
So उसमें तो कोई
Ultimately,
शक नहीं है.
truth wins. Okay, was there any special message, Aditya, that you wanted to convey from Baramulla? If yes, what was it?
I think if you look at the story of it, I think we are talking about tomorrow. The idea was to tap in a very neglected factor because Kashmir is something that is always conflict ridden. We always have discussions. We always have, we always discuss about the issues there. There's always the discussion is always happening. But there's one thing which is completely neglected. What is happening with the next generation while you are discussing the conflict today? Nobody thinks about what's happening to a child who is probably at 12. What is his surrounding? Does he have the childhood that a child in Mumbai is going through? Is it similar? Is it different? And if it is getting affected, how grave that danger is, to what extent it can go. And we wanted to shed light on that topic because it is reality. It's not something that is not fiction. That does happen. The terms that we have used in the film are research based. They have proper research that is backing it. So the idea was always to shed the light on it, make people attend to that problem, have discussion of it. And at the same time, when we talk about the past, there are things that will never, you can't wipe it off.
Yes, but you can heal the wounds.
You can heal the wounds, and it will require an effort. Not just from, and that effort cannot come from the victim. The effort needs to come from the person who is relating to that victim, because I'm showing that pain into the film. The idea and the expectation is from the rest of us, genuinely. I am a Goan and I've done a film in Kashmir. He is not coming from Kashmir either, he is from Gujarat. And yet the connection we had when we went through that story was so surreal that I remember I wept when I actually wrote the climax.
Okay.
I was crying myself, trying to finish. He was going through the same phase. I think the idea is to translate this pain which can connect, because the story is about harmony, peace, but at the same time it talks about the future which is incomplete. It needs to be completed in a certain way, and we need to discuss about that. That is the whole idea of making a Baramulla through this kind of a craft. We are trying to make it entertaining, but at the same time entertainment is not everything. We want to make impactful cinema. We want to make cinema that stays for ages. क्या आप सिनेमा खत्म होने के बाद भी मेरी फिल्म के बारे में, कहानी के बारे में, किरदारों के बारे में आप सोच रहे हो उसके बारे में, तो मुझे लगता है कि then the entertainment has done its job. The due responsibility that we have in a country like India, which is so diversified.
And why was Manav Kaul chosen? And also tell me, what was his reaction when he read the climax?
I think Manav read the entire script in one go. I think Bhasha ji also did the same. Both the reactions were pretty same, because they just once Manav also read the script, he just told me that we will do the film, no matter, like there's no talking about whether, what, क्या discuss किया जाएगा, क्या नहीं, मैं ये film कर रहा हूँ. Because I think जब craft ना आपका paper पे होता है, usually जब craft आपने paper पे सही किया है, intent के साथ सही किया है, I think at that time that relates and anybody can see it. If you don't do it with the right intent, it's very easy to understand that also कि अच्छा there is some other motive behind writing something. So when Manav read it, it was like a direct thing that he told me that he's going to do the film. But at the same time, him coming from Baramulla, Bhasha ji also coming from Baramulla. For a director, it's like the best thing that could happen, because a film like Baramulla, you can't do it without performances. थोड़ी फिल्में होती हैं which can be done up, 19-20, it is fine. But a Baramulla, the characters that both these actors are representing are so complex that you will not get them if you just see it once. You see a scene twice, you will realize the undercurrents, the layering around it, how it is woven around. So it's so tough. So for a director, it's so easy then to work with, because whatever I am telling them about Baramulla, they have a connection already.
Okay.
There is a chemistry of the actor with the place, with the past, with the present, everything already there. I think for me that was the best deal.
Bhasha ji, does it become easier when your co-star is also from the place you belong to? Is it easy to explain and vibe and, in fact, explain the cultural nuances to people who are not from that state?
Yes, it helps. It helps. Also because Manav is also from theatre background, so craft-wise also it was much easier. We were discussing the scenes, how we'd go about it. I think yes, that helps.
You also have a theatre background?
Oh yes, I am from the National School of Drama.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Manav is not here with us, as you guys told me earlier that he's doing a directorial venture up in the north somewhere. So Manav, this question is for you. Every time, film after film, you give a very composed performance, and even this one required a different kind of composure, but you really nailed it. How do you do it, Manav?
बारामूला से जितना प्यार मिला और उसका सारा श्रेय दोनों आदित्य को जाता है, आदित्य जम्बाले, आदित्य धर एंड लोकेश ऑफ कोर्स। इन सब लोगों ने इतनी ज्यादा मेहनत की थी और जो स्क्रिप्ट थी और जो रिजवान का किरदार था, मुझे लगा कि इतना डेप्थ, इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स, बहुत ही कम किरदार लिखे जाते हैं। सो आई हैड लॉट ऑफ फन एंड ऑल्सो बिकॉज मैं एक परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट का हिस्सा कई सालों से हूँ, मैं थिएटर का हिस्सा हूँ। मुझे इस तरीके के कॉम्प्लेक्स और वैसे किरदार जो सतह के नीचे बहुत ज्यादा हो देन सतह के ऊपर हो, वो निभाने में बहुत मजा आता है। तो बारामूला में रिजवान का किरदार उसमें से एक था और मुझे बहुत मजा आया। कश्मीर बहुत खूबसूरत है, ठंड में कश्मीर में शूट करना और खूबसूरत है। तो आई कांट थैंक इनफ टू द टीम ऑफ बारामूला एंड और इतना प्यार जो मिल रहा है वो पूरी टीम डिजर्व करती है बिकॉज एवरीवन वर्कड रियली हार्ड।
Okay, finally, now that you consider the success of the film Baramulla, any plans to again get together and give us the same results?
Absolutely, I think we do plan on collaborating on projects together. I think the Valley, I've already worked on Article 370 and Baramulla, so we'll one day surely return to the Valley.
Okay, and so basically you're saying next project is also based in the Valley?
No, one day, that's what I said. One day we'll surely return. For now, there's so many stories in such a beautiful country like India that we need to explore. But yes, the Valley calls always, and we'll always return.
Okay, so Baramulla is a gripping drama thriller. You guys have to watch it if you haven't watched it so far. It's streaming on Netflix. Well, as it is said, sometimes the real horror is not in the ghosts but around the world we inhabit. On that note, I'm going to thank my very beautiful guests for being with us, for taking the time out to be here in DD Studios. You guys can watch the film, give the feedback of this interview of the film on our different social media channels at DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.